안녕하세요 여러분, 맹동엄마입니다. 올해 스타크래프트가 25주년을 맞이했는데요. 스타크래프트는 1998년도에 출시되어 지금까지도 대한민국에서 가장 인기 있는 게임 중 하나이고, 또 오늘날 e스포츠의 뿌리가 된 게임이라고 말할 수 있겠는데요. 오늘은 스타크래프트 25주년을 맞이하여 스타크래프트의 역사와 또 스타크래프트 개발진들의 비하인드 스토리를 한번 같이 보도록 하겠습니다.
Artists in the company were really interested in drawing something other than fantasy at the time because they've been working on Warcraft 1 and then Warcraft 2, and they're like, hey, let's do something science fiction.
We weren't thinking about, hey, what can be super successful? We just wanted to make something that we would enjoy playing.
It was fun to begin to envision worlds and empires and alien species in conflict. It was a dream opportunity.
A lot of us just started doodling during lunch. People just started drawing all sorts of different things, and I remember Sam drawing some crazy characters without mouths and stuff like that, and it was kind of like these little moments of just inspiration.
We were working on the ideas for StarCraft, and it was either CES or E3 that was coming up. And we're like, well, we need something. We're like, well, we don't have anything. So we just sort of took the structure that we had already made and just started building the preliminary races of like the Zerg. And we went to the show, and it looked like everyone said Warcraft in space.
Orcs in space. Orcs in space.
Oh, Orcs in Space. I know what this is. I'm like, no, this is going to be completely unique characters and 3 races.
We got our asses kicked. I mean, you know, and that was the cool thing about Blizzard, right? And still today is just, you know, anytime we see a challenge, we rise to it.
We had to go back and say, all right, what do we do to completely change the art style and everything about it to make it be its own game?
Monday morning, we had scrapped the complete game, had decided that we were going to go in a totally different direction, rewrite the engine, and really start delving into the 3D aspect.
We had a guy named Dwayne Stinnett who did 3D, and he worked on this mech, and he just did this mech animation, right? Kind of just a proof of concept, like, hey, this might be cool. Samwise went in and kind of beefed up the mech and tricked it out, and then they showed this animation to everybody, and everybody said, okay, this is it. This could be the sci-fi RTS that we've been talking about.
Based on those experiments, I think we all realized pretty quickly that, like, yeah, this is the look for this game. This is what makes it distinct.
And somewhere in there is where I realized that all the new ideas for the design and how it could be different didn't mesh with what we already had. Your ideas are great, but we need 3 months to completely rewrite everything from scratch if you want to do all these ideas.
The legend says that those in power called upon Bob Fitch, and he sequestered himself from everybody and locked himself in a small office that still had windows and doors, and he could leave whenever he wanted. But he was locked in there for months at a time. His wife gave birth, and he was in there with the baby in a drawer, rocking it while he's programming with his left hand.
People were bringing me food at my desk, and no one was telling me to do this. I just wanted to do it because I wanted to have a great game.
Within a few months, all the old stuff was out and all the new stuff was in, and, you know, again, like when the art getting reborn, the engine getting reborn, that's the birth of StarCraft and Bob's kid.
So getting StarCraft to market was pretty arduous. It was easily the hardest crunch we had done up to that time.
There was a lot of balance that needed to be done. There were a lot of bugs, and at that time, we were the play testers.
But we were learning. We didn't really know what we were supposed to do, so we did a lot of just playing the game over and over again.
It got to a point where when I did go home and get some sleep, I was dreaming about playing StarCraft.
And every time we thought we were close to done, we discovered more things that we really wanted to do that really would make it the StarCraft it ended up being.
And we would say this to people about how we were progressing, because everybody was like, when are you going to ship this damn thing? And we're like, we're working constantly, 7 days a week.
Someone came up to me and said, hey, are you working on that StarCraft game? And I thought, yeah, this is the first time I had been recognized with a Blizzard shirt. And the guy, all he said was, you need to get back to work and finish that game for me. And I thought, holy cow, we're on to something here.
It took longer to cook than anything we had done before that time.
And back then, we didn't have the internet to do a quick patch every time you needed to do something, so
It really did matter, but we were passionate about it, and we got this stuff done. We worked really hard.
It was a madly different time, but it was fantastic.
I did not have a gray hair before StarCraft. After StarCraft, gray.
Oh, I remember when StarCraft 1 came out, and it's one of the best feelings.
We definitely believed that we had created something that was really special.
And I remember Chris Metzen in a big meeting basically saying we just finished the greatest RTS ever made. And we all agreed and sat there and got really drunk.
One of the coolest things is I went down to the QA area. These guys have been testing the game around the clock for months. They were there playing the game. Wow, you guys are here playing the game. You guys could be home sleeping. That was pretty awesome.
The reception to StarCraft, almost right out of the gate, was tremendously validating. It was kind of a proof that, we're on the right track. This is how we should approach everything from here on out.
It was one of our first Game of the Years that Blizzard had as Blizzard.
We always look to do the best we can, and we just hope that the fans appreciate it and the critics appreciate the game. But to actually see them come back and give those positive reviews and start seeing the outpour of support for the game, it was really awesome.
I knew it was going to be a great game, but I had no experience with what a great game means in terms of how many people start adoring it and changing their lives around it, getting tattoos of things from the game, and what that really means when you get that devotion and that following. What happened after StarCraft 1 is we essentially just started right in on Brood War because we wanted to release it fast, and so another crunch started. I got a little bit of time off. Got to spend a little bit of time with the new kid, right?
Brood War was so much more than an expansion, but it was really a whole new game. I mean, the amount of work that went into it, the amount of new content that was in there, the technical advancements that happened with that game.
It actually radically changed the way that you'd play the Terran, Protoss, and Zerg. It is actually what made StarCraft, StarCraft.
I picked up StarCraft 1 in, I think, 1999. I got my first computer ever. Came home, and there was this manual that was filled with a ridiculous amount of story content and really cool art. And I ended up reading the manual for several hours first and getting kind of sucked into this crazy world.
StarCraft 1 meant a lot to me. It was a game that all my friends were playing in, I think it was high school at the time. Pretty much everyone gathered together. We were doing LAN parties, playing that thing just nonstop. And it was a game that, I grew really close to really quickly. It was the reason I came to Blizzard. It's a huge reason for why I'm on this team.
I was first introduced to StarCraft 1 in college when I was playing a lot of video games with my friends. But I noticed a lot of them were going to the computer labs playing StarCraft Brood War. And so that was my first introduction to it.
I think I was in high school when the game came out, and then I was playing it a lot. I used to go to PC rooms pretty often, after school, almost every day, except on Thursdays, because on Thursdays, that was the first televised esport event going on in Korea.
My first exposure to any of the professional stuff was seeing Korea and how popular it was there and watching them play, seeing videos of them where the fingers are moving beyond my capability of even doing my fingers right now with nothing happening, and yet they're making the game move at that speed. It was incredible.
Seeing him rain for the first time, dodge a lurker shot, I'm like, you really can't do that, right? You can't do that. I remember looking at programmers he shouldn't be able to do that, right?
Holy crap, we never tested for this. It's going to crash. There's going to be a problem with the UI. There's going to be a problem with the game in general because it was so light years beyond what we ever did in testing.
In Korea, they were showing StarCraft Brood War on television. The pro gamers were fully sponsored with awesome uniforms, and they had fangirls and fanboys holding up signs. It was insane.
Being able to see these gamers become superstars, this was their sport, this was their thing, and they were the best in the world. Esports was born in Korea, and it was born with StarCraft.
자, 이렇게 스타크래프트 개발 비하인드 1부를 같이 봤는데 2부에서는 스타크래프트2의 성공과 또 스타크래프트2 e스포츠의 세계화에 대한 이야기가 나오게 되는데 이건 또 스타크래프트2 기념일 때 다시 한번 업로드 해보도록 하겠습니다. 이번 영상에서 블리자드 개발진들의 스타크래프트에 대한 자부심과 또 애정을 볼 수 있었는데요. 역시 스타크래프트를 좋아하는 사람으로서 굉장히 뜻깊게 봤습니다. 스타크래프트가 25주년을 넘어 계속해서 장수하는 게임이 되었으면 좋겠네요. 재밌게 보셨다면 구독과 좋아요 부탁드리면서 오늘은 여기까지 하도록 하겠습니다. 그럼 유바!